Hello and welcome to my next video, and today I want to talk about reverse diabetes naturally. This is something that is very close to my heart and really the life's work I devoted the time to investigate, research, but also I living it. Obviously, I'm type 1 diabetic, so I cannot reverse diabetes. It's a genetic disorder in which pancreas doesn't produce insulin anymore. And with the type 2 diabetes, what actually happens is the insulin resistance. So your body produces insulin, but it's not working properly. And I'm not going to go into very complex biochemical processes that takes place because everyone is individual. But in all cases, there is the sign of insulin resistance. So receptors on the cells do not recognize insulin in a way they should, and they do not allow the glucose from the food and from the bloodstream to enter the cells for the energy. So what that does, it contributes to the higher elevated sugar levels in your bloodstream, which can be very toxic for your body. And they may increase gradually. So you may not have any symptoms of prediabetes, but at some point you may not feel well. You're going to get your bloods checked, and then there will be some elevated sugar levels potentially discovered, and then you will have to be put on medications because there isn't any way to reduce it quickly. I do not deal with the medication as such. I basically help people to do and change it through the lifestyle. It's a habit change method when we always start with the mindset. So I used to start with a lot of nutrition. Nutrition is very important, but what I've noticed with my patients and with my clients, that they understand what they need to do. They just were not doing this on a more consistent basis. So they were basically falling off the wagon. But one of the things I always say that, going up and down through the journey is normal, is a human experience. But one of the things I always work with my clients to understand is that we need to have that metabolic flexibility and resilience. So if we, for whatever reason, have the diet, which is not the best, we still can go back to the balance, to equilibrium, because we have that metabolic flexibility. So we train ourselves and we train our bodies to take on a little bit off when we are not feeling the best and we lose the motivation to continue. And I work with clients in different things, and the most important motivation for them is that they don't want to be on any medication. They want to do it naturally. And it's totally possible, especially in the early stages of prediabetes, because there isn't any medication on prediabetes. It's just a signal that something's not working in your body, and now is the time to change your lifestyle. Now, I always say that there isn't any specific diabetic foods and the magic wand and magic pill, and we all should be eating like that. Cutting out processed and highly sugary foods, moving more, sleeping better, and working on our thoughts and mindset to reduce the stress level, anxiety, which also can impact our ability to train ourselves in that metabolic flexibility and resilience, right? So I'm going to talk about that because it's important. But one of the things what we're doing with the nutrition and lifestyle changes, we basically increasing our insulin sensitivity, right? And making sure that our body is sensitive once again to the insulin. But what happens is because of all of these poor lifestyle choices, for different reasons, we are not insulin sensitive. It's just not working the way it should. So we need to increase that insulin sensitivity. So first of all, we need to be able to select and choose the nutrition right for us. Nutrition plays a massive role in the way we can do that. Now, I always combine it with the mindset because the other day I had a client And she came to me and said, like, I can't resist not going into the bakery and buying cinnamon buns and all of the other things, right? So she knows exactly what to do. She knows what really increases or can increase her insulin sensitivity through the, nutrition and the what she chooses to eat. But then she has these urges to go in and take something sugary. I always come back to the mindset, but also to the nutrition, because if that happens, and we all have cravings, and 99% of people have cravings, right? So the cravings will tell you something, that there is something not right. It's in the mindset, so we're missing something in our life, but also in our nutrition. So if we eat a very boring diet, which doesn't have any proper amounts of vegetables and whole foods and fruits, our body will call for it. It is a clever mechanism, right? So, and the other aspect of it is the lack of sleep. So my approach is very holistic into reversing natural diabetes, because I believe that we are the whole person and we live in the ecosystem, and it's important to look at each of it. Obviously, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a holistic approach where I basically look at different elements and what is going on. And one of them is also sleep, because if you don't sleep properly, you wake up tired. Your body sees it like, I need energy, I need food for energy, because lack of sleep is really contributing to lack of energy. But you can't just sleep during the day as much as you should, and you cannot catch up on sleep. It's not a power bank. You can load it previous night and then go on for whatever times, but you will have those cravings that basically your body will be calling for energy, and it will want to take it from, the most kind of sugary processed food, because that's the easiest way, and that's how we've been programmed, right? We also come to this, let's say, a new situation for you if you are pre-diabetic. So what happens is that you have probably a lot of habits from the past where food was treated as a reward for everything, right? If you eat veggies, you're gonna get a dessert. If you behave good, you're gonna get a dessert. So we have a very much sort of connotation. So food is not food any longer. Food means certain emotions of being good or being bad or celebrating. So we are detaching ourselves from the understanding and really connecting food with anything other than a proper nutrition for our body. Okay, so how can you increase your insulin sensitivity? Through, first of all, mindset. Nobody talks about that because, oh, no, we can't do it. But stress levels in our body contributes to so much, to unprocessed difficult emotions, to different things in our life. So therefore, we're going to go and grab food we don't want. Then we have a lot of past programming in our life which tells us, oh, go to this food because you're going to feel better, go to that food, it's going to, whatever, substitute for something you are missing in your life. And sometimes we're doing this very subconsciously. It's not a conscious choice, because if it was, we probably wouldn't do it. So a lot of this is automatic behavior as well. So we need to make sure that we basically recognize and start putting this into a conscious area through the self-awareness. And that usually is when you work with somebody, and there are different ways to do it. People try hypnosis, for example. Different things work for different people. Transformation doesn't have to take years. That's another thing. In my coaching session, I'm very quick now, transformation. I ask the right questions. I make you think because that's important, and take into the surface something you may not really like dealing with because it's difficult for you, right? But it has to be processed. So the mindset is the key to manage stress level and anxiety, but other things very much so important too. So metabolic flexibility, what it means, first of all, we have a diet that helps us. And in a diet, I don't mean restrictive, but we know exactly what serves us, what serves our body, and what serves our condition. So what we're doing is, with the metabolic flexibility, we ensuring that our body can burn, for example, fat for energy, which is not the easiest way. So we eat the food that allows that to happen. Other things, so we practice the caloric restriction between the meals. We don't have to fast 24 hours to have the benefits. If we fast 12 hours between the last meal on previous day and the first meal on the next day, then the fasting between the meals, then it will be fantastic. I usually try to go for 4 to 5 hours. I go for 12 hours between my last meal and the first meal, and 4 to 5 hours between the meals in between. And that's fantastic, because this is when your body starts to burn fat for energy. Of course, we all have different metabolic processes, and not everyone is very good in actually burning the fat for energy. Body is stubborn. It protects fat because it's a protective thing, protective layers in case of starvation. We are physically active. There is no other way. We have to be physically active. We start with small steps. We go for a walk more often, bike, swim, everything counts. Diet overall is anti-inflammatory. So it means that it's full of phytonutrients, whole foods, green foods, rainbow colors, nuts, seeds, healthy fats that really help us with anti-inflammatory condition. In terms of the energy, we consume just enough carbs for the energy, but most of our energy from food comes from fats and healthy fats, rather than from the big portion of carbohydrates. We just are able to modify our nutritional intakes through the lifestyle changes, through basically we are able to almost change our kind of genetic predisposition through the diet and lifestyle changes. Because if diabetes runs in your family, yes, you are at higher risk, but it doesn't mean that you have to have it. And yeah, so you have this psycho-emotional flexibility, this, and more emotional balance. And yes, more happiness in our life. This is so, so important. And it's really difficult for a lot of people, because you may live on your own, you may not want to cook, you feel fed up with lack of progress because you don't see it. And quite often that's the case. I see the patients, I see the clients, and I see enormous progress they have done, but they never sometimes acknowledge this themselves, because they would like to be further along the way, right? We don't acknowledge our journey as it is. So this is a few tips, and if you are trying to reverse it, if you want to also prevent it from happening, you know that you are at risk because it runs in your family, then I want you to join this course, naturally, Reverse Diabetes Naturally, and there is the link in the show notes. It's a lifestyle change program. It's a habit change program. It's 12 weeks, but the most important part of it is the accountability and support. I'm there, present. I have also offer a few live sessions, like clinics. You can go and ask me anything you want and get the support, because sometimes we can disappear in the world of research and finding what works for other people, but we're not listening to ourselves. We're not trying and thinking, is that good? Yes, I feel good, but am I doing this right? I need to ask somebody, and I can definitely guide you in the right direction, because it's okay that sometimes we fall off the wagon, sometimes we're confused and overwhelmed. There's so much in the area of natural health, diabetes, and what works, and different, and we are able to decipher, we are able to optimize this for you. Obviously, it's a group coaching program, but if you are interested in one-on-one sessions as well, I leave the link to my calendar if you wanted something that bespoke for you, because that's where I'm good at, and I do have online sessions too. So I hope to connect with you. Of course, subscribe to this channel. I will be talking more about different things and how to improve our health, life, performance. We are coming to the end of the year, and we may think about the resolutions, we may reflect of what is happening and what happened during this year, and I will help you with mindset around that as well, because it's important to acknowledge the progress and obviously plan for the next year as well, and the next kind of the cycle. I always say, I mean, next new year is a good opportunity to do that, but it doesn't have to be at that actually stage. It could actually start now. Take care and all the best.